Good evening. I would like to call to order the public hearing continued from October 16th, 2024 for the proposed amendments to the Concord Township zoning resolution text as recommended by the Zoning Commission are as follows. Amendment 1 is to revise section 5.02A definitions as follows. Update the existing definition for accessory building or use, detached building, private garage, and use. Define new terms for breezeway and attached building. Amendment number 2 is to revise section 15.02 use regulations to clarify that the permitted and conditional uses are principal uses in both the text and table 15.02-1. And Amendment 3 is to revise section 15.03A general requirements for accessory buildings as follows. Add provision that accessory buildings shall not exceed the height of the principal building on the lot. Add provision limiting lots greater than 2 acres to have no more than 2 detached accessory buildings with a maximum combined gross floor area of 1,532 square feet. Add provision that any attached or detached accessory building shall not exceed the square footage of the living area on the ground level of the principal building on the lot, but also to not exceed the maximum square footages permitted for detached accessory buildings. As stated at the beginning, this is a continuation of the public hearing that was held on October 16th, 2024. Heather, I understand you have some suggestions for the trustees to consider that address some concerns that were raised regarding the amendments. Could you explain those for us, please?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you. So after hearing some of the concerns that were raised at the last public hearing, I am suggesting a few modifications specifically to amendment number 3 that hopefully will address some of those concerns, but also help protect the intent behind the amendment and what the Zoning Commission was recommending. If you look at the handout that I did place at the table for you this evening, the suggested modifications tonight are highlighted in yellow and are as follows. I'm suggesting that you modify section 1503A8 to read in the R1 and R4, R6, and R8 districts, lots 2 acres and larger are permitted to have 2 detached accessory buildings, each not to exceed 1,532 square feet unless otherwise specified. This modification would now permit parcels 2 acres and larger to have 2 detached accessory buildings, each no larger than the 1,532 square feet, rather than a maximum combined 1,532 square feet. I think this would allow for some of those larger lots to have adequate storage for detached accessory buildings. The other modifications are to section 1503A10 and would read, the total square footage of an attached accessory building on a lot shall not exceed the square footage of the living area of the ground floor level of the principal building, but shall also not exceed the maximums permitted above in section 1503A7 or 1503A8. Additionally, I would suggest that you add a new section, 15.03A11, that reads, the square footage of any detached accessory building shall not exceed the square footage of the principal building on the lot, but shall also not exceed the maximums permitted above in section 1503A7 or 1503A8. These 2 modifications would remove the proposed restriction limiting detached accessory buildings to be no larger than the ground floor living area of the principal building, but rather keep it as currently written in the zoning resolution to not exceed the square footage of the principal building on the lot. And I think that would address the concern raised by a couple residents about having a small first floor living area and how that would impact their ability to have a detached accessory building that would be able to be maximized at the 1,024, the 1,532 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
At this time, is there anyone here from the public that would like to come to speak regarding the proposed amendments? Please come up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record, please. Okay. Any comments? Good. Good. Okay. At this time, I will close the public hearing. Good evening. I would like to call to order the Concord Township Board of Trustees meeting for November 6th, 2024. Y'all like to join me in the pledge of allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please, Mr. Patriarch.
Mrs. Lucci.
Present.
Mr. McIntosh.
Present.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Present. Moving into the approval of minutes.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the October 16th, 2024 trust. Where is the minutes?
Yeah.
Oh,
We have
okay.
two sets.
Okay, the public hearing minutes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye. Mr. Chair, I move to approve the October 16th, 2024 regular trustees meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on into the elected officials reports for this evening. Starting off is John Patriarcha, our fiscal officer.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer. I'd like to begin my report this evening by thanking all of our county election officials, everyone in the community who volunteered their time, including our own Mr. McIntosh. It's obviously incredibly important that we continue to have safe and secure elections in Lake County and all across the state. So obviously, thank you to everyone that was involved in that process. Based on unofficial reports from the Lake County Board of Elections, obviously there was a important levy on the ballot within our township, which I'm sure will be discussed today. But I did want to thank the Citizens Advisory Committee who had spent hours and hours of work and due diligence coming up with a recommendation for our township administrator, who passed that along to the board, which eventually made its way onto the ballot, which was passed last night by our citizens. So an incredible amount of work and time and due diligence and more work and more time and more due diligence. So I did want to recognize the members of the Citizen Advisory Committee again this evening. Moving on to the Treasurer's Report, as of October 31st, 2024, we're 83% of the way through the calendar year. The Treasury balance for the 21 active funds within the Township Treasury is at $8 million. The Treasury balance includes $336,000 in funds set aside for specific projects. Year-to-date expenditures are currently at 78% of the amount appropriated for the year. While year-to-date revenue has exceeded 100%, we currently sit at 105% of the annual budget. These figures continue to keep Concord Township on track and within the 2024 budget. If residents have specific questions regarding township finances, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly to Fiscal Office 440-354-7516. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Patriarch. Moving into the trustees' reports, starting us off is Mrs. Lucci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It is with my deepest gratitude I thank everyone for support of our fire levy. We know that it's not easy to ask for more, to give more. We don't take that lightly, but we are committed to balancing our budget and keeping it transparent, conservative. But when that budget falls short and it impacts our safety, we feel it is imperative to ask for more. Otherwise, we risk losing the comfort, the vitality that we come to know and take for granted living in Concord Township. So thank you very much. I also would like to thank our first responders for the challenges that you face each day. You run towards danger with selflessness while everyone else is running away. And we can't thank you enough, nor can we even understand how you do what you do. But we thank you very much. We're very privileged to live in a place where you take such good care of us. I also want to thank my appreciation to the Citizens Advisory Committee, as well as Mr. Patriarcha, Mr. Rose. I think their insight was instrumental in providing the guidance we needed to shape this levy. So with their input, we felt that it respected not only the needs of our safety services, but the stewardship of our community resources. So thank you for them for that. Aside from that, we did have a staff meeting Monday where we heard some updates such as the plow trucks are ready, which is not something we want to hear, but good to know that that's good to go. We got to hear about some of the winter events that will be happening soon and updates to roads and our water line projects. I also want to thank the Rec Department for their fabulous fall festival that they had last week at the fire station. It was a great place, great turnout, really good job. Thank you. This week I did hear from a resident regarding a zoning issue that Mrs. Freeman took care of for me, so thank you for helping her out. Also continue to get questions about what's going on Cryle Road next to Key Bank, which is the Taco Bell. And also thank you, Mr. McIntosh, for working at the Board of Elections to keep our integrity and confidence in our election process. And I do want to congratulate those who were elected yesterday into their prospective positions. I wish everyone the best and enjoy the rest of the week.
Thank you. Mr. McIntosh.
Well, good evening. Thank you. I appreciate. I will lead off with talking about election day. I always say every time it's always rough getting up that early in the morning, except for if you're Amy Lucci and get up that early every morning. But at the end of the day, it's the feeling that you have of knowing that we did a great job in Lake County, and we always do. The machines are great, the election workers are great, and thankfully we had a lot of civility. I didn't hear of any challenges or problems, and it's always rewarding. I love doing that job. The rec department, I did want to thank them for the great events that they did this year or this fall. The Fall Fest and the drive-in movies. The Fall Fest was fantastic. It's nice to have it in the fire station. People get a chance to see it. Took a lot of questions on issue 2 right up to election day. Also did have another 911 committee meeting. The focus this time was on PSAPs, which is what does the acronym stand for again?
Public Safety Answering Points.
Yes. There's 8 of them in Lake County. Operating a dispatch center is expensive, as I'm starting to learn, and the cost to upgrade is substantial. So the big issue on the table right now is how does the committee recommend it set standards based on what we have. There's 8 in Lake County. That seems to be a relatively high number. So I know the communities are all taking a look at their budgets to see about consolidating or possibility of it. I did want to talk a little bit about the levy. Mrs. Lucci's comments are right. My first thought when I saw that it passed as narrowly as it did is that I was grateful. Grateful. I know the firefighters dug deep. They went out there and worked hard, on top of the fact that they work hard 24/7. They're out there keeping us safe every day, running into the face of danger and taking care of us. They also took time out of their personal lives to go make sure that the residents in the Concord understood why this was so important. And it obviously made a difference. It's a narrow victory. The decision that we had to make to put it on the ballot is one that takes courage. Being responsible for other people's lives and being in the leadership position is not an easy one, and there's always tough decisions that we face. We've not, as a board, we've been there before, and we'll continue to do what is best and right for this community. We are also representatives of everybody in Concord Township, and there was a pretty loud message sent about how people feel about taxes, and I just want to acknowledge that it was a tough decision, as we said several times, and I'm not deaf to that conversation and hear those residents as much as I hear the people that voted for it. And but I'm grateful we don't have to endure cuts, and we have a good safety budget going forward, and I think that's the best for Concord. And this is gonna be harder than I thought. I'm wearing a Mickey Mouse tie this evening, and just to remember Amy. It's been 2 years since we lost her, and yep, just didn't want to let that one go without thinking about it. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah. I'm also very grateful. I would, like to sincerely thank the residents of Concord Township for their approval of the fire levy. As everyone said here, it wasn't an easy decision, but it was one that required courage because we felt a need to shore up our safety and ensure it for many years down the road. We understand that many people have challenges in this community, like in other communities. It's not easy. So our promise to our residents is that we will be good stewards of that funding, and we will do everything that we can to have a very well and balanced budget moving forward so that we can ensure that that is used appropriately for our safety services that are out there every day. But a sincere thank you to the Concord Township community. We appreciate that. And that's all I have. So we will move into department reports for the evening, and we will start out with our administrator, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. Dondorfer, members of the board, Mr. Patriarca, members of the audience, good evening. start with a few of the items on the agenda under new business. The zoning amendments are under old business. Item A, that's a purchase order to Menor Windows. We're going to upgrade the windows at the community center. This is being paid for through a NOPEC grant, and we thank NOPEC. We participate as a NOPEC community, and we are able to utilize NOPEC funds for upgrades such as this. Item B, that's a purchase order to M&J Tool. That's for new diagnostic tools and software for the service department. I think Mr. Brown's going to touch on that lightly as well. On other items, on November 4th, 2024, I received and accepted on behalf of the trustees a letter of resignation from part-time firefighter Chris Simperman. We wish Chris much success and a long-lasting retirement. Everybody knows Chris. He was I don't think the residents know this, but Chris was with our fire department for 39 years as a part-time firefighter. And that's incredible. And you know, he was always there when, you know, when talking with chief and deputy chief, you know, when they needed to fill a slot, Chris was there, you know, and he worked around his full-time job until he retired from that. But he'll be missed. But we wish Chris well in his retirement. Moving on, Old Fire Station 1 is projected to be demolished later this month, and it should be completed by mid-December. We're working with the Lake County Land Bank, or the Lake County Land Reutilization Corporation, as they're formally called, on this. They're completing the paperwork. The winning bid is in. They're completing the paperwork in preparation to release the contractor to start the work. So that should be commencing here soon. We should get a 10-day notice probably this week is my guess. Girdled and Auburn Road waterline project is ongoing. Working through some delays on the Auburn Road side. There's some gas line and AT&T fiber lines that need to be worked around, so they had to come up with a little bit of a different plan on where they're going to put the main. And I talked to our engineer this morning, and they've finalized those plans, so we should hear something from the contractor here this week. And Girdle Road, they're past the halfway point. They're progressing nicely, so that's going well. No huge surprises there. Next coffee with the administrator is a little bit different. It's on the third Thursday due to Thanksgiving. So that will be held on Thursday, November 21st at 9 a.m. at the community center. So look forward to meeting with our residents and, you know, answering any questions or anything that come up there. And I know we've all talked about the success of our levy, but I want to give a special, and I know we've talked about this, the Citizens Advisory Committee, but I want to give a special thanks to the Citizens Advisory Committee. I mean, their research, their homework, their input. You know, they met with fire, they met with the sheriff, they met with the trustee, they met with John and I. They crunched a lot of numbers and looked at everything top to bottom and came up with a solid, good recommendation. And I cannot thank them enough. So hats off to the CAC, and thank you to everyone that came out and voted and participated in the process. And I thought the Board of Elections and all the volunteers did a great job. I was roaming around, roving all 4 polling locations here in Concord Township, and everything from my vantage point, everything seemed to be going smoothly. So hats off to everyone who participated in that. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rose. Fire Department, Chief Sabo.
Good afternoon, everyone. So for the month of October, we had a total of 258 incidents that we responded to. We had 166 EMS events with 125 transports to local hospitals. We had 92 non-EMS events, including 6 fires. Inside of Concord, we had 3 fire incidents, including 1 structure fire, 1 furnace problem that caused some smoke in a residence, and one vehicle fire. Outside of Concord, we assisted with 2 structure fires and 1 chimney fire. We gave mutual aid 24 times, received mutual aid 17 times, and had 109 overlapping calls for about 42%. Our Fire Prevention Bureau, the month of October is always very busy for us. Levies aside, it's always busy for us in October. But the Fire Prevention Bureau completed 52 inspections, accounting for about 80 hours, and completed 8 plan reviews, and participated in about 6 hours of fire inspector continuing education, and they assisted in the one fire investigation in Madison. We actually installed 4 Knox boxes, residential lock boxes, to 4 of our residents. We had 1 returned. National Fire Prevention Week is in the month of October, and it is 102 years old. In honor of this, our firefighters and the fire trucks made 21 school visits between Melridge, Parkside, Hope Ridge, St. Gabriel's, the Learning Loft, Painesville Christian Academy, Goddard School, and Hershey Montessori School to deliver safety message to our target audiences of preschool to 2nd grade. And also for Fire Prevention Month, we had 5 separate good groups that took field trips into the new station. So it was nice to host them in the new fire station. Also in November, the firefighters took part in 3 separate trunk or treat events. The rec department, as we've all recognized, hosted the Fall Festival at the new station, and I thought that was a great venue to host that, and especially with the haunted training tower. I thought that was pretty spectacular. They did an outstanding job. The fire department had a small table handing out goodie bags with a new fire hat, badge, safety literature, and of course candy. On October 7th, we had a community CPR class at the station. On October 29th, we had CPR and first aid for Frontage Labs employees. And October 30th, we did a fire drill at Fieveslandis. Yeah, I always mess it up, sorry. Building with evaluation afterwards. So we kind of helped that business evaluate their fire drills and how things went and how they can improve. 2 groups of seniors from Riverside High School visited for a career discussion and safety message at the fire station. So we were happy to host them there. So the total number reached for Fire Prevention Month of October. School visits, we reached approximately 1,200 kids. We had field trips we reached approximately 100 kids, and the Fall Festival we estimate our reach to be approximately 250 kids. Adding in all the events total, 1,880 reached. And that does not include the firefighters that went out on Halloween and engaged with all the neighborhoods, as many neighborhoods as we could get in on Halloween evening. So that was nice. And they were able to get into quite a few before they had their next call for service. So that was good. On behalf of the entire Concord Township Fire Department, I want to express our heartfelt gratitude to the Concord community in passing the fire operations levy. Their trust and commitment to our community safety means everything to us. And this decision ensures that we can continue providing the high level of service that they deserve. I want to thank them for their support, and with the support, we'll be able to address critical needs within the fire department. Their investment in our department is an investment in the safety and well-being of every family, business, and visitor to Concord. And we're honored by the confidence that they have placed in us, and we are fully committed to serving with the dedication, care, and professionalism that they expect and deserve. I too want to personally thank the township trustees, Mr. Patriarca, Mr. Rose, the Citizens Advisory Committee, all the township staff, Sheriff Leon Bruno, and the entire Sheriff's Office staff who have provided unwavering support of this issue and of the fire department. I'd also like to thank Deputy Chief Bedell and every member of the fire department who gave so much throughout this whole process to ensure our success. I have never been prouder to be a part of the Concord Fire family. Thank you once again for standing with us, and together we're building a safer, stronger Concord Township. That's all I have.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Great comments. Okay, moving on to our service department. Tim Brown, our service director.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
The service department in the month of October continued with several road repairs and maintenance throughout the township. Concrete slab replacements, ditch maintenance, easement maintenance, and drainage enhancements are a few of the projects performed by the crews. Our equipment maintenance crew ready the snowplow fleet for the winter operations and begin winterizing equipment for winter storage. The service department brush day drop-off took place on October 5th and October 19th. They were quite busy with many residents dropping off brush to be recycled. The next brush day drop-off will take place in the spring of 2025. The yard waste drop-off has been very busy with several residents taking advantage of the drop-off on a daily basis. Residents can drop off their yard waste Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and drop-off will be open to residents until 2:30 p.m. on December 2nd. The annual curbside yard waste collection will be on December 2nd, beginning at 6 a.m. Residents should have their yard waste to the curb the night before. Major Waste will perform the pickup and plan to do that in one day. The service department, along with Lake County Stormwater Department, performs several stormwater projects within the township, providing needed maintenance and enhancements for the mitigation of stormwater throughout the township. These projects were funded using Concord Township stormwater funds. As we approach the winter months, we remind motorists to allow for more travel time when wetter conditions arrive. Please give the plow drivers room to perform their operations to make the roads safe for travel. Residents with questions or concerns are encouraged to contact the service department at 440-350-3225 or by email at concordtwp.com/service department. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Moving on to the zoning department. Heather Freeman, our zoning director.
Good evening. So during the month of October, the zoning department staff processed 28 zoning permit applications, bringing the year-to-date total to 348. Additionally, staff was busy performing inspections in our community and completed 140 property inspections with open zoning permits while issuing 40 certificates of zoning compliance. Staff also began 14 new investigations about potential zoning violations. And finally, at the October BZA meeting, the board approved a conditional use permit for a new adult daycare community facility that will be located within an existing building on Auburn Road for the Bright Day Community Center. Their focus is to provide support services for individuals on the autism spectrum. So we welcome them to our community. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation Department, Sean Supler, Recreation Director.
Good evening, everyone. Just to recap our October events, on October 11th and 12th, we had our fall indoor garage sale. We had 20 vendors present there. We had approximately 350 people come through the doors that weekend for that. Our next one is in the spring, and that will be the weekend of April 11th and 12th. On Saturday, October 19th, we held a drive-in movie in conjunction with Lamouth Middle School. We showed Despicable Me 4. We had the lot almost nearly full, which was a great increase from last year's event. People got to enjoy food trucks, free popcorn, which was supplied by the Recreation Department. We had Emily Harrell Realty there, who supplied a ton of free candy for all the kids. And we had Scafco, who's a Concord business. They built and donated a stage for us to put the movie screen on. And then the entire event was sponsored and covered by Zappy's Auto Wash. So thank you to all those businesses here in Concord for supporting our program. On Friday, October 25th, we had our adaptive Halloween dance for our special needs community. We had approximately 40 kids there for that event. We had DJ, costume contest, food, and other things going on during that. It was a great program as well. Then, as everyone else has mentioned, we had our Fall Fest on Saturday, October 26th. which was held at the new fire station. We had a great turnout. I know we had at least 150 kids there. They enjoyed games, lots of candy. Our not-so-haunted tower, pictures, everyone got to take home free pumpkins as well, and much more. Thank you to Sub-Zero Mission for coming out to the event, and to everyone who donated warm gear for the winter months for their mission. I also want to thank Maple Ridge Nursery, as they donate a ton of flowers and pumpkins and everything else that we had that helped decorate the fire station. And lastly, thank you to the fire department for opening their doors and letting the recreation department take over for the day, and to their staff and to the recreation department staff for all the work that they put into that. So thank you very much. Now, our upcoming events, today we held estate planning, which was presented by our very own law department. So thank you to Bridie for sending some of the staff there to do a presentation for our 55+ group. On Tuesday, November 19th, with Morley Library, they're doing wooden holiday gift tags. And then our big event is our annual Friendsgiving. That event is completely sold out and beyond. So that is good. I think we have 75 seniors signed up for that program already. Some of our youth programs coming up, we have ballet and dance classes for ages 2 to 8 on Thursday evenings. Some of our adult classes, gentle yoga on Tuesday mornings, yoga Pilates on Wednesday evenings, another yoga class on Monday nights. Our Let's Cook with LaDonna this month. I actually know how to pronounce this one, so that one is on Thursday, November 21st, and that's tamale shepherd's pie. Special events, our only one, and one that we should all be noting, is we have our Veterans Day ceremony at Old Stone School on Monday, November 11th from 11:30 to 1, with Dan Maxon running that. So make sure everyone goes and checks that out. Then just a few December events. Friday, December 6th at 6 p.m. right here at Town Hall is our annual holiday tree lighting and Santa, which we'll do pictures with Santa here in this, what am I saying? Town Hall. In Town Hall, yes, thank you. Our Light Up Concord is Light Up Concord contest. Will also take place. You need to register by December 10th. There's a bunch of different categories for that, so check out the website, concordtwp.com, for that. Online voting will take place this year between December 19th and January 5th, with winners announced after that. Our Letters to Santa with Mrs. Claus is Saturday, December 14th from 10 to 11 at the Community Center. That's $10 per child, and that's geared for kids ages 4 to 10. And then lastly is our personal messages to Santa. You need to sign up for that and register by December 15th, and you'll receive a short video from Santa before Christmas. Outside of that, I look for a favorable vote for the windows that we need at the community center. We definitely have some water issues on some of them, so it's definitely more about getting that issue fixed. So outside of that, please continue to sign up for the e-grapevine. Visit the website, concordtwp.com, for all of our upcoming news and events. And if you have any questions or need anything else, please call 440-639-4650. And I wish everyone a good night and happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. And for our law enforcement report this evening, we have Captain Patterson with the Lake County Sheriff's Office.
Good evening.
Evening.
Speaking on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, we congratulate this Board of Trustees, Mr. Rose, Mr. Patriarca, and the Concord Fire Department with respects to the levy passing. Undoubtedly, quite a bit of effort goes into a levy, so well done by all those involved. We thank the residents of Concord for their support for the Concord Fire Department and for our Sheriff's Office. And we're excited to see the increase for the 10 deputies in Concord, which adds a second full-time deputy that will be added to the routine patrols. So we're excited for that, and we actually have some good deputy sheriff prospects already in mind that we're looking at. Again, congrats and thank you to the Concord community. Moving into our stats for calls for service for the month of October, we charted 1,009 calls for service in total. And beginning with traffic, deputies responded to 23 damage accidents, and we issued 41 traffic citations and 214 written warnings. In arrest, we had 4 OBIs. 2 were from State Route 44. One was on Johnny Cake Ridge Road, and one was on Chestnut Street. One of the OBIs involved a male who had young children in the vehicle. Therefore, he faced additional charges of child endangerment and was also charged with resisting arrest. We had 6 domestic violence arrests accompanied by assault charges. We arrested a male who was found walking on Route 44 over I-90, randomly firing a BB gun style rifle. And there were many reports received on this by the Central Dispatch concerning this male's actions. Nobody was hurt. They were not aware of any property damage. However, he was arrested for inducing panic. Deputies made 9 drug arrests as a result of traffic stops from moving violations. 7 of those arrests were felony drug arrests relating to possession of cocaine and possession of meth. Additionally, we had 2 warrant arrests. Some of the miscellaneous run through, we covered 16 business checks, 11 community policing checks, 60 alarms, 42 suspicious matters, 18 animal complaints, 12 domestic violence incidents, 9 thefts, 12 disturbances, 9 threats, 3 DOA death investigations. We were called to a breaking and entering to a vehicle at the Holiday Inn on Gold Court. This is an active investigation, which is progressing well. This is a case where a window was smashed out of a vehicle and a cell phone was stolen. Deputies have ID'd a suspect and charges are forthcoming. The suspect is not a resident of Lake County, and the same suspect is wanted in connection to other local agencies for similar thefts. I'd like to note, although Halloween was a very busy day for us with a rather major incident, we were able to get out into the Concord community to try to get in touch with some of those neighborhoods, and I know we did participate in one of the trunk or treats in Concord. We had no adverse reports from Halloween night. Things seemed to go pretty well, so that's good. And that concludes my report.
Thanks,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
Appreciate it. Okay, moving into the audience portion, seeing that we have nobody here this evening to speak, we will start out with old business. We have Okay, moving into old business.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve zoning text amendment number 1, revise section 5.02A, definitions as follows. Update the existing definition for accessory building or use, detached building, private garage, and use. Define new terms for breezeway and attached building.
I will second.
Okay, roll call vote, please, Mr. Patriarca.
Mrs. Lucci,
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Dondorfer,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve zoning text amendment number 2, revise section 15.02 use regulations to clarify that the permitted and conditional uses are principal uses in both the text and table 15.02-.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Lucci,
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh,
Yes.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve zoning text amendment number 3, revise section 1503A, general requirements for accessory buildings as follows. Add provision that accessory buildings shall not exceed the height of the principal building on the lot. Add provision limiting lots greater than 2 acres, have no more than 2 detached accessory buildings with a maximum combined gross floor area of 1,532 square feet. Add provision that any attached or detached accessory building shall not exceed the square footage of the living area on the ground level of the principal building. I thought we were changing that.
Right, so I was gonna ask,
Right.
Mr. Chair, I believe we wanted to look at the
So we
modifications.
needed to redo these, right? These are not, we needed to do the with the modifications, and we didn't do that on the last two motions, right?
So do we need to do anything with the current C? Or can we just
Well,
move
look,
to the modification?
so,
It'd be the modification.
So we can
but
just, okay,
But I think we have to read it that has the
no,
modification.
we're just
in it.
reading,
Right.
so then we need to
Right.
redo those other two votes then?
no,
No,
just
those
the
are
last
fine.
one.
Those are the
It's
last
actually the
ones.
last
Alright.
one.
Which is C.
So read the entire written, but just say, you want me to read it with the modifications as opposed to what is on the agenda, correct?
Yes, but I think it's actually the one in the public hearing where it says Amendment 3. I think that's actually the modified language. I just want to check really quick.
Yeah.
No, the modified is on the sheet,
Yeah, we
It's on
have,
the special sheet.
right?
We have that. It's the,
not, yeah, cause it says gross floor area of 1532, so that's not correct.
Do you want me to read?
No, I got it.
Okay.
I think I have it,
Sure.
Okay,
right?
is it,
so 1503 modifications under 8, 10, and 11, Morgan. Spelled out in the red and the yellow.
Yeah, so right.
Okay.
You mind if I just come up for 1 second?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, yeah. So, written on the agenda is as it was proposed by the zoning commission. So what I presented to you during the public hearing were a couple recommended modifications. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Matheny, but I think we would want to vote for approval of section 1503A with the modifications to section 8, 9, or 8, 10, and 11. And we could read what those modifications are.
That's correct. So you would read at least, you would at least read that first sentence of C,
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would then add in the modifications
And then
for
discuss I can read the
8,
modification.
okay.
Right, yep.
10,
Okay.
and 11.
All right.
Thank you.
So, let me get this. Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the zoning text amendment number 3, revised section 1503A, general requirements for accessory buildings as follows. And we'll do it with the modifications to 8, which says the following: in R1, R4, R6, and R8 districts, lots 2 acres larger in the area permitted to have 2 detached accessory buildings, each not to exceed 1,532 square feet unless otherwise specified. 10, the total square footage of any attached accessory buildings on a lot shall not exceed the square footage of the living area. And we wanted to strike that ground floor out because we wanted to do the whole building, right?
No, that was gonna be the new section 11.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah,
and then,
so
okay,
10
I'm
is-
sorry,
is
take
the-
10 out, and then, okay, so then to, with the revision with being the square footage of any detached accessory building shall not exceed the square footage of the principal building on the lot, but shall also not exceed the maximums permitted above in section 1503A7 or 1503A8.
And those were the modifications.
And those are the modifications.
And then you're also, though, going back to the beginning of C, after the colon, I apologize, where it said, add provision that accessory buildings shall not exceed the height of the principal building on the lot. That is also
In the
not a
motion.
modification, but that is part of the amendment.
And are we including 11?
We should add 11, I thought we did.
Yes.
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I think you just
But does,
read 11.
Did he?
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
You just read 11.
I did read 11.
Yeah.
okay. Okay, that was great.
Where are we at with my
Sorry,
motion?
yep, so,
Okay.
on vote C,
Yes.
right? After the colon, it says as follows, you still are going to add provision that accessory buildings shall not exceed the height of the principal building
Okay.
on the lot.
So the motion must also include add provision that the accessory building shall not exceed the height of the principal building on the lot.
Correct, yes.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, please, Mr. Patriarch.
Okay, to approve the amendment with modifications as stated by Mr. McIntosh. Mrs. Lucci.
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh.
Yes.
Mr. Dondorfer.
Yes. Okay, and new business this evening, we have 2 votes.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the Recreation Department's purchase order in the amount of $24,599 to Mentor Window for windows at Concord Community Center. No pet grant will be used for this project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve Service Department PO not to exceed $1,600 to M&J Tool for diagnostic tool.
16,000.
16,000 to M&J Tool for diagnostic tools and software.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and moving into the last order of business this evening, future meetings and announcements. Mr. Patriarch, please.
Sure. On November 11th, Town Hall will be closed as we observe Veterans Day. On November 13th, the scheduled BZA meeting has been canceled. We will provide an update for the next BZA meeting in a couple weeks. November 20th, from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., trustee office hours in the conference room, immediately followed by the trustee meeting here at Town Hall at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, and that concludes our trustee meeting this evening. Thank you, Concord Township, and have a great evening. We're adjourned.
Thank you.